So we're back with another SVO video. Today we're going to be tackling the rear of the car, most importantly the suspension. So in this box right here I have the lower control arms, the diff, as well as a couple things that we didn't finish off last time, like the plugs for the floor pans, so we'll also do that. But if you're looking here, we have the control arms. Now these come in red, so off camera I did paint them black, gloss black, and they look pretty good. Turned out really nice actually. You know, crappy masking job over here, but that's fine.
Yeah, they look good.
Nobody's gonna see them. So we have this, and that comes with all the bolts, and bushing's already pre-installed, so it's not gonna be that much of a headache. But we're gonna have to drop the diff, and that's because the diff is all rusty, has surface rust and everything, so we want to clean that up, get it nice and
I also want to get rid of any surface rust that would be like above the diff, like where the lower control arms mount. We also have new shocks. I believe they're somewhere up there.
I'm pretty sure it's in the LMR box.
Yeah.
So we have the shocks. So it's going to be nearly a complete rear rebuild. But I also, when I bought the car, the guy that I bought the car from included brake pads with it. I'm not sure if it goes to the front or the back, but we'll test them. Maybe I can change the brake pads as well. That'd be nice. But yeah, so we'll get to jacking up the car and dropping the diff.
Yep. We also are going to be doing the headliner as well for this car.
Yep. So we have this pulled out. If you remember last time we didn't put it back in. And I went to Joann's and grabbed some vinyl. And Joann's is a beautiful place because they somehow always manage to just match our leather perfectly. Now keep in mind, the leather that was from this did not match the seats. It was a lighter shade, and I literally grabbed a piece of the old headliner to bring with me. And it was an exact match.
Yeah, it was literally an exact match for my Mustang as well, which is like a canyon color, I think it's called by Ford, but it's like a darker red. And they had literally the same texture, same color, same material leather. And yeah, whenever you go to Joann's, I mean, this is not sponsored by any means. Whenever you go there, you can always find some like coupons that are 50% off online all the time. Always have something.
40, 50% off when you just go online.
Yeah, and we have the headliner spray that they sell. We found this thing to be one of the best like headliner ones. We have found though that for the EF, how it's been sitting, I think the heat kind of made some bubbles get back into the headliner, but we were able to just smoothen that out. So hopefully it won't be an issue now that we're doing this in the summer, and because then we were doing it in the winter.
We're doing it in the winter, and then when the heat hit it, it just kind of sagged. But
yeah, so as always, first step is going to be to jack this thing up.
yeah. So let's get to it. So we have the wheels removed, and now we are pulling the shocks out. So left side is out, right side is being a bit of a bitch.
All right, so the shocks are out, and right now we are going to be undoing the brake line. And then once the brake line is out, we're going to be able to start unbolting the lower control arms for this thing. Actually, no, we have to do the diff. We have to do the diff, actually.
I'm going to strip this. My brake line is undone. Instead of pulling the clip out, because it was being a pain, we just undid the whole bracket that mounts to the chassis, and now that's free. So we don't have to worry about the lines.
Put it in gear, please.
Yep. So currently we're undoing the drive shaft bolts. All right, it's in gear. Did it? You better not have moved.
What move?
Oh. Okay, so after wrestling with the car a little bit, we got the 4 bolts removed that were needed. So it was the lower control arm, upper control arms. E-brake cable is also disconnected, so now we're dropping the diff. We're caught on the exhaust. It's okay, I fucking hate this exhaust anyways.
Wait, what are we doing for the exhaust?
What?
What are we doing for the exhaust?
we're caught on it with a control arm. Perfect. There we go. Oh, whole car just collapsed. Shit just went flying everywhere. So, there we go.
Look at how it comes out though, nicely.
Yeah, beautiful. Look at that, and now we have this to work on.
Yeah, so next step is gonna be to take off the lower control arms. We're gonna be deleting these bars right here, we don't need that. Wire wheel everything, sand it, primer it if something, paint it. I think you wanna paint your calipers today or no?
I think the calipers might need a rebuild, so I'll hold off on that.
We should, if something, you should paint sway bar maybe as well.
Yeah, sway bar is definitely gonna get
Same
painted.
color as the calipers, right? The blue? It looks sick.
Black.
Not blue.
Nah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do semi-gloss for the whole diff, and then gonna do gloss for the sway bar. It'll be fine.
Alright then.
Yep.
More work to do.
Yes, we do. Alright, so we pulled the brake caliper off, and this thing absolutely needs a rebuild. It was seized onto there. So I'm gonna order a rebuild kit for it, but that doesn't stop us from, you know, getting all this done, putting it back in the car. You know, this is just a brake caliper that we need to rebuild and just slide back on there. So yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna go refuel at Quick Check. It's currently like I think it's like 94 degrees and it's like 80% humidity, so it's miserable. We don't want to do this.
Yep.
But we still have to get it done. So quick check trip and yeah.
Okay, so right now I'm just gonna pass the camera over.
Yep, so I'm gonna be in charge of making this ugliness look nice afterwards. So, as you see, it's really just surface rust. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna take a wire wheel, I'm gonna knock off everything here, make it nice and smooth, we're gonna primer it and then paint it. So it's gonna go looking from like this to like this. Looking shiny right now, but it should turn more semi-gloss in a bit. Right now the paint's fresh, but there is about no rust on this thing after I wire wheeled it. Hit it with the primer, then the paint. So yeah, maybe I'll do one more coat on this, we'll see. Next is gonna be to get the differential ready and painted. So over here we have Montes. He is sanding up and wire wheeling this thing. We're gonna paint it afterwards. How's it going?
It's gonna need to be brake clean. There's a bunch of grease and stuff on it from me spraying WD-40 everywhere earlier.
All right.
So I'm pretty sure that's going to be disassembled as well, that entire caliper slash disc area, because this is obviously has a good amount of surface rust, and we're going to want to paint all this as well.
Yeah, so we'll get back to you guys once we're done prepping this.
All right, so back with an update. I cleaned the entire diff up, and now I'm rust reforming it. It doesn't honestly need rust reformer, but I do want some sort of a primer base on it. Also, if you noticed, I rust reformed the lines. I don't want them to get rusty. I've seen plenty of these Mustangs with completely rusted out lines. So I'm also just rust reforming these, and these will get painted. From the last video, if you remember, I painted the diff cover. In hindsight, I should have left it alone because it was definitely going to get overspray on it now, but it's only a few minute job to just repaint it again. So yeah, I'm finishing up the rust reformer now on this side, then I'll have to flip over the diff and do the same thing to the other side, wait for it to dry, and then we can finally spray it black.
Yep, we've got some BBK spring isolators. These things are ancient. Who knows how long they've been sitting, but they should work. We have some springs that were sandblasted. We kind of rushed a little bit, but they're sandblasted. It'll be good. I have some epoxy paint in the car. I'll bring that out in a second. And then we have a Montes's vape juice. So, yeah.
Yeah, so we sandblasted the springs and we made sure that the mating surfaces are the cleanest part of it. The epoxy paint should be somewhere in here. It's probably rolled under the seat.
Of course it is.
Oh wait, no, it's in here.
No, I don't think so. I don't see it. Oh, right here. All right, so we're gonna be using this VHT epoxy paint. It is, I'm pretty sure, like a flat or satin black.
Yep.
As a Montes wanted, he wanted his suspension to be a black theme. So we have some contrast. We're going some black that's glossy, some matte, some flat. So it should look good and clean that way. And there's gonna be slight hints of color, like you saw those spring isolators are blue. The calipers are probably gonna be blue. But for the most part, nice, simple, clean setup. All right, so I have the springs just outside, zip tied to the sway bar. The reason we're using epoxy paint is because this thing can actually stretch. Now, coils like these, they're of course gonna be moving up and down, so if you use normal paint, it's gonna crack. That's why you wanna use epoxy paint, so that it won't crack, obviously. We got some Bambi action over there. Montes, zoom in when editing. Anyways, let's go see how the coils look. And there they are. They're a bit more satin than I wanted. I wonder if they're even, they're a little tacky, but yeah. Actually, this one's a little flatter. But they look clean, they look fresh, and that's exactly what we want. Meanwhile, over here we are disassembling this caliper. We found that this, well, all the seals are garbage, but also this piston, I mean, like the chrome and all that stuff, if this thing ever focuses, well, yeah, you see, it's no good, so gotta get a new piston.
Just ordered it. Also ordered you some fucking wipers for your Mustang.
Oh yeah?
They have them, yeah.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Dude, they're hella wipers and they're $2 a piece.
Okay. Can you order me a new windshield as well?
Let's see if they have it.
No, I'm good. I think you can get them on LMR some shit for like 150 bucks.
Really?
Yeah.
But I have my guy put them in.
While Montes over here struggling with the caliper, I'm just changing out some squirters on the carburetor, trying to get it to stop hesitating when I start driving it. But yeah, went from 28s to 31s to 35s, and I still need to go up. So yeah, carburetors, don't get into them, kids. Stay EFI.
Exactly. All right, so I just finished rust reforming the diff. It's still drying, but it's almost ready for paint now. So we'll let the rust reformer fully dry out, and she can then get that semi-gloss black paint.
Tomorrow we're gonna have both of these things painted, and hopefully in the car, although tomorrow's gonna be the hottest day of the week.
Yep.
And raining. So
to show my oopsie. So I was following some redneck's tutorial on YouTube on how to remove the old little metal tab that holds your rear view mirror, because mine was not working anymore. And they said use a torch. Well, I used the torch. And now we have some nice bubble graphics where the old rear view mirror used to sit. So yeah, don't do what I did. Use a lighter, don't use a torch. You want slower heat, because I'm pretty sure the torch just overheated it. And what it did is it bubbled up the lamination that's inside the windshield, because the windshield is a different type of glass than, let's say, your side glass or anything like that. So this is technically two pane glass with a little laminate in between, so it's like a sandwich. And it got a little too hot and it created bubbles. And sadly, I can't squeegee that out. So we'll be back tomorrow with more painting. Definitely gonna have enough paint. All right.
After a couple coats, so you can see, it has almost like a change when it comes to dark to light, depending on the angles you look at it, because it is more of a candy color. I'm probably gonna give it another coat because I do want it to be a little darker. Right now it's a little too eye-catching, so I'm gonna probably do another coat. Hopefully it'll darken it more and it'll look good. Alright guys, so we're going to be starting the headliner. Unfortunately, the headliner got wrinkled up. It kind of like fell somewhere and just sat like this, so there are some marks in it. But I think after we apply it and some like heat gets put on this from in the car, it'll probably smoothen out. But anyways, the way we found most effective is
well, just this headliner adhesive. What I do is I'll get the first end tacked on, just the very corner. So I like to do the entire thing first, and then I'll cut into it and actually fold the edges over. So I just want to get the whole thing glued down, and then I'll flip it over and cut all the holes out.
Yeah. So you're doing it from, so like the Fox body, right? The Fox body's headliner is pretty square and small. So we like to start from one end and then just work our way this way. Now, when we're doing the Civics one, it's a really long, like a longer headliner. So we started from the middle and then worked this way and then came back to the middle and worked that way.
Yep.
So, yeah. Another thing that's nice is with this leather material, you can put a lot of glue down and it won't bleed through. When we're doing the like velvety type material on the Civic headliner, if you put too much glue in, it would bleed through and it would like cause a stain on the other side of the headliner. So obviously this is where we're starting. We're gonna want quite a lot of glue. You don't need to go that far.
What's up?
I gotta go that far.
So you want to wait for it to tack up a little bit before you actually glue it down, because otherwise it doesn't stick. What I was doing before, because I was impatient, I'm pretty sure it was on the Mustang's headliner, is I would just blow on it, because all it needs is oxygen to just tack up a little bit, so I just sit there and blow on it. But also don't recommend that, because Alex came back to the garage and saw me all red and woozy, so I'm pretty sure I got high off of it. So yeah, now I'm just going to lay it over the part where I applied the glue.
You can use a card always, or some sort of like tint application to roll it out, make it smooth. Yep. If you don't have something soft or rubbery, you can always just use a credit card. If you really are worried about it getting damaged, you can put a credit card in a sock, and that would also work. So here we have this screen protector applier, which we use to apply tint.
Yep.
And yeah. I think that's from the epoxy.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is where I'm applying it right now, it's not the right side of the headliner. So technically, the way it was over here. But look at it. The glue's not going to stick to this. I can't get all that fuzz off.
Yeah. So we're using the back side of the headliner. The headliner was also ripped up, so we just epoxied it back together as well as we could.
I stapled it as well as epoxied it.
Over here is a good example. Like this is just nothing here, so it's stapled and then epoxied over. So there, it won't be as flat as getting a brand new piece of cardboard, but why pay, what is it, like 100 or 200 bucks for this?
It's 250 bucks.
Yeah, 250 bucks for just the cardboard, so not worth it at all.
Yep.
Yeah, so we just like to work small sections at a time. So we'll get this guy all sprayed up, wait for it to tack a little, and then we roll it on and repeat the process till we're at the end.
Well, I have the whole thing glued down, so now I just have to cut all these holes out and then just wrap this nicely around.
Yep.
And get all the cutouts, and that'll be that.
All right, so that's probably gonna keep you busy for a bit.
Yeah. Also, I glued on the new iron for the rear view mirror.
Ah, I forgot about those bubbles.
Yeah, we don't talk about them, but
Were you even able to sleep last night with that?
no, I wasn't. But
Yeah, well, let's just say Amantis has an Accord, right? You all seen it on the channel. And it had some scratches on the windshield, and he had it replaced just because of that. So this must be killing him, honestly. Meanwhile, my Mustang still has a cracked windshield. Same thing with the EF Civic.
Yep. We don't talk about it.
As you can see, he's making like an X pattern. That's so that you can take the lip and fold it that way. So that when you flip it over, you don't see it. It just looks like it's perfectly wrapped through.
Probably clean that nozzle. Oh well. tack up a little bit, Chief. Yeah, I guess humidity's helping it tack up.
So yeah, as simple as that. So he's gonna do that to every hole, just like that one, just like this one. Most actually, this one he doesn't have to. You can just cut it out because the visors will cover it. But yeah, he's gonna have to do that to all the edges.
Yep. All right, so the headliner's finished now. He's got it wrapped around the edges as well. Did all the cutouts. All these are gonna get hidden by the clips anyways, but you know, or just put in the slightest amount of effort just to you know, keep the holes here. So that's all finished. I have the 2 important holes cut out as well as the 2 middle ones. As you can see, it's nice, seamless, and a lot of it, you know, will get covered up anyways. So headliner's all finished. Now I'm pretty sure that the epoxy is dry, so I can put the new mirror on there because I've been driving this car around without a mirror. So let's see, hopefully it doesn't fall off. All right, she's on there. So now I finally have a functioning mirror. I think it dims at night too, which is cool. But it's just the perfect size so I can see out the rear view. And there we go. You can see Alex over there painting. All right, so that's done. Maybe we'll install the headliner in a bit, but first we need to make sure this is finished drying. As well as Alex decided to paint the brake dust shield, sure. So yeah, slowly moving along. Temperature's kind of killing the motivation, but it's all right. We'll get through it.
It's like 80% humidity, and then in there it's like way more than 80.
Yeah.
The farther you go into the garage, the more humid it is.
Yep.
All right, so the dust shields are all painted, differentials painted, sway bars painted, coils are painted, and the headliner is somewhat installed in there. Next is gonna just be install all this stuff, which is not gonna be fun. So we're gonna wait till in the evening when the temperature gets colder, and hopefully it won't be that miserable.
You show the headliner being installed as well?
Yeah, just showed them a little bit, nothing too close.
Okay.
But there it is. You see some like wrinkly spots, but that'll get fixed once the heat gets hit on this car. So yeah, once it heats up. Still got to install the visor on this side, put the cab back in there, but the interior is also coming along. Gonna go to Harbor Freight, get some screws, and we'll see you guys in a bit.
All right, so we got the diff bolted up, and now we're putting the spring insulators on.
Because next is going to be the most sketchy part of this, and that's going to be putting the springs on, because we don't do it the normal way you're supposed to do it. We do it a way that we're not going to put on YouTube. So if all of a sudden the springs are in, that's why.
All right.
Springs are in. They look really good with the blue insulator. Now, obviously, we didn't show that on camera because we did do the way that I was kind of hinting towards. So, if you guys want to try and guess in the comments how we did it, we will let you know if you guessed correctly. So, yeah.
All right. So next up is probably going to be to get the shocks in.
Shocks in and then sway bar.
And then sway bar, jack up the entire diff, aka preload the suspension, and just tighten everything down.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, not fun.
And then brakes another day because stuff to rebuild them.
Yeah, brakes for another day, that's for sure. Speaking of that, where's the other caliper? Is it under the box?
Probably.
Okay. All right, we'll get to doing that. All right, so everything's finally bolted up. Springs are in, shocks are in. Everything was preloaded, tightened. We also got the sway bar in. And the rear end is nearly finished. All that we need is the brake rebuild, or the caliper rebuild, which is right here. And also paint this guy, and we're finished. At least for the rear end of the car. So as you can see, we've just been taking chunks of the car and getting it done. So first episode, we did the floors, and now we're gonna do the rear end. Next time we're around, we're probably gonna do the front end suspension, and finally get to the engine, which is not gonna be any fun. So,
It'll be fun. We'll make that thing go hella fast, you know? Hellcats.
oh yeah.
Those are gonna be a thing of the past.
But yeah, so now we just gotta wait for the brake parts to arrive, which will be in a couple days, but only a few seconds for you. All right, so it's been a few days. Haven't really had any time to work on this car, but today I did come into the garage and I rebuilt this caliper. I did not really want to record it since it was my first time doing it, so I can't, you know, show you how to do it when I don't even know if it works myself. But there is a really good write-up on the SVO forums. I'll leave a link to that in the description. There are a few pointers that I'd like to give, and actually the most important one is for the brake line right here. Don't buy new washers. These are copper. I mean, don't buy new washers if you have copper ones. What I did I just took them on vice grips, heated it up with a torch for a few seconds, and since copper expands, it's pretty much back to being a brand new washer. So yeah, that's that. I have the caliper on over here. Other side, also the caliper is on. I'll save painting them for a later date. There's no point. Also installed new brake pads. So now I'm gonna have to run to the parts store, get some brake clean, because as you can see, I touched everything. So brakes definitely will not work. And yeah, then I'll just have to bleed the brakes and the car will be finished, or at least the rear end of it. So I'll update you on that. All right, so she's good. I readjusted the handbrake as well now. So now all that's left is to put the wheels back on. I already brake cleaned all my fingerprints and all that stuff, all the oily fingerprints. And the one mistake that I made with rebuilding this caliper is that I didn't take off the handbrake assembly that's from the rear. That caused me to have to take the caliper off again and then pre-fill it because it wasn't pumping any air. But after a lot of pumping, I ended up getting some brake fluid that shot out of here, and I got really happy. So that's all finished. The rear end is fully complete now. I'm gonna toss the wheels back on and go take her for a little ride.
So the turbo Saab is oh whoops, my bad, sorry. The SVO Fox body is all complete and on the road. So how long have we been driving it now?
It's been about a week.
Yeah, like about a week. And what are your impressions on it?
We'll hop in. We'll talk
hop in? All right, let's go. And we are in.
All right, so it has been about a week since I've been driving it. And the first initial impression of the car was the fact that the rear end feels like a brand new car now. Before it was extremely sketchy to drive. You hit a bump and it would fly you over about like 6 feet to either direction. Now it's a lot more steady, and the rear end just feels extremely solid. But I mean, it makes sense. The only thing that we didn't change in the rear end was the springs, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, springs don't really go bad. But yeah. I mean, I've driven this car as well, and the rear just, it handles. It feels like the front is the only thing that needs to be done, and that's because we haven't done it yet. So next video will probably be something with the front, right? Or no?
Yeah, next video is definitely gonna be something
with the front, and if not, then something else SVO related. But yeah, we got a lot of content coming out for you guys. So here's just a quick montage of it driving down the road. But relays, we don't need that. Damn, how much boost was that? Did you hit 18 or no?
That built 18, yeah.
That built 18? Okay.
So fun.
And we got the premium fuel button, you know?
Of course, she only gets premium. The only car I've ever had to put premium in. Everything else is low compression, so